Okay? And so basically what I have to do is I have to find my missing sides. So they tell me that DB is 12. So they tell me that that length is 12. They tell me that DC is going to be 13. And then they also tell me that AC, this full length here is 21. So I'm just going to draw some brackets here. This full length here is 21. Okay? So that's where that's coming from. All right? So basically what I want to do is I want to solve. So this is going to be 12, and this is going to be 13. And then I want to use Pythagorean theorem to find what this missing side is, right? So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 12, 13, because 13 is my longest side, squared minus 12 squared. And then I'm going to find out what that equals. Did anybody compute that? What is that equal? It's going to be equal to 25. This is going to be equal to 25?
That's going to be equal to 5.
This is going to equal to 5. Okay. Right. This is going to be equal to 5. So I can do, this length is 5 here. So to find AB, I can do 21 minus 5. And then what do I get? What's my length? It's going to be 16. Right. So that's going to be 16 and 12. So let's go ahead and get, what's the next step that I do? Yeah, yeah.
You do Pythagorean theorem and you get 400, then you square root it and you get 20.
Yep. So you do your Pythagorean theorem. So you do 16 squared plus 12 squared. Square root is going to be equal to what? 20. Equal to 20. Right. So that's your answer. That's number 4. All right. So let's go ahead. We took a good amount of time on that. So what I'd like us to do is I'd like us to go ahead and get started on our new material. I'd like us to go ahead and get started on our new material. I did not forget that you have your homework, but let's go ahead and do this first. All right. So I'd like you to have your spiral notebook out. All right. Go ahead and get your spiral notebook out. We are going to talk about a couple questions. New questions for how to take the inverse of an equation. Alright, if you do not have your spiral notebook, by tomorrow I will start handing out those out. So make sure that you have them. I think most of you do. So that is what we need to have. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started. Let's say we have an equation, f of x. So this is what I'd like you to write in your notes. We have an equation here, f of x is equal to 5x plus 15. Yes, question? Okay. No, I'm just saying, let's say that we have some sort of a function here. All right. There you go. All right, good. So that's f of x is equal to 5x plus 15. So what we did yesterday is we talked about finding the inverse, right? We talked about finding the inverse of a function. So basically what we can do is we can represent this in table format, right? And there's a whole bunch of x and y values, or sorry, x and f of x values, right? And to find the inverse, right, to find f, -1, that takes y values, right? What did we have to do for our inputs and our outputs? What did we have to do? Someone? Yeah, Andres.
We switch it?
We had to switch our inputs and our outputs, right? So what was our input became our output, and what was our output is our input. So this is a function that takes outputs and gives us the input that we started with, right? Okay, good. So what we need to do in order to switch our inputs and our outputs is that we can actually switch our input variables and our output variables. So this is going to be, we can make f of x, y. You agree?
Yes.
That we can make f of x, y?
Yes.
Yep. So I can just replace f of x with y is equal to 5x plus 15, right? And then what I want to do is I want to solve for x. I want to solve for x. So the way that looks like, so if you're writing this in your note, let me see you guys are following along, which is good. All right. So you want to go ahead and solve this for x. So what's the first thing I want to do to solve this equation for x? Deshaun, yeah.
Subtract 15 on both sides.
I want to take 15 away on both sides, right? And so I'm going to get y minus 15 is equal to 5x. And so basically what I'm going to do from there is I have to solve for x. So and I bring this on. What do we do?
Divide 5 on both sides.
Divide 5 on both sides. Right? There you go. So then we're going to get x, just x, is going to be equal to 5 minus 15 divided by 5. It is possible to simplify this, right? So how do we simplify this? Yeah.
Negative 15 divided by 5.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So we can split this into two things. We can split this into x is equal to y divided by 5 minus 15 divided by 5, which is what?
Negative 3.
Negative 3. Okay. So now here's the last thing. So now you agree. I have a function that takes inputs. I do some sort of, it takes outputs. I do some sort of calculation and I get what I started with, right? So if we took, let's say 1 here, 1 times 5 is 5. 5 plus 15 is going to be 20, right?
Oh,
5 plus 15, right? Okay, that's good. So 5 plus 15 is 20. So if I put 20 in here, I take 20, I divide it by 5, and I get 4, and then I subtract 3 from 4, I get 1. So I get what I started with, right? You see that?
Okay.
Yeah, question?
Okay, after you did that last step like that, x
Mhm.
equals y over 5, I'm confused from now.
Okay, so after I do this last step?
Yeah, like how did you go from y minus 15 divided by 5 to?
Oh, I did. So what I did, Shanice, you can do this. You just divide each of those by 5. That's the same thing. It's like each of those terms is divided by 5. That's what that is. Yep. Yep, it's the same thing. Okay, all right. So what's the next step, right? The next step is the last step, right? The next step is the last step. You want to. Okay. How do we get from plus? Okay. Yep. So you just subtract 15 on both sides. So the next step is the last step. So our last step here is that we want to complete our inverse notation, and all we do with that is we just replace x with f inverse of y, which is going to be equal. Hold on. Which is going to be equal to y divided by 5 minus 3. All right, hold on. Let's encourage hand raising. So I'm seeing people that are raising hands. So let's just do one at a time. All right. So this is the first hand I saw. So let's go ahead and answer some questions here. Yes.
So wait, I'm still at the y equals y. I mean the x equals y 5 minus 3 divided by 5. Then you talking about 20 and all that. Where did we get that?
So where was all that 20 and stuff like that, right? Where did that all come from? So that was just an example. Like if I have an x value of 1, right? So if I put an x value of 1 here, so 1 times 5 is 5, and then plus 15, that's where 20 is. So 20 would be like my output value, right? And so we said, what if we put our output value in for y, right? Well, we put 20 in here, and then that'd be 20 divided by 5, which is 4. And then 4 minus 3, look, we went back where we started, because 4 minus 3 is 1, right? So the inverse function will take, our f value and bring it back where it was, where it started. Yeah.
Does that only work for 1?
Does that? It works for any number. It works for any number. Yeah. Yeah. Pretty cool. Yeah.
Okay, I get that. So that was just an example, right?
Yeah. This is one sample equation. Yeah.
So now for the inverse. Okay, so do you have to divide 5 or just leave it as y minus 15 over 5?
You can. So do you have to divide? I mean.
Do you have to simplify?
Do you have to simplify? I mean, I'm going to be kind of loose about simplification for now. The main thing is that I want you guys to be able to get this step, and then to be able to see that that is equal to this. All right. So there's different forms and stuff like that. I'm not going to be very particular about how the form is simplified, but I definitely do want us to have the correct solution. Have the correct solution. All right. Are we solid on this example? Yes.
Can you explain this?
Explain what? Where this came from? Okay. So when I solved for x, I just replaced it with this. Do you agree? That's the only thing I did. So what this means is this is an inverse function, right? and it takes y values, right? So it takes what was our output value, now it takes that value, right? So I can take from, like we said, like output land, I take the 20, right? And I can put 20 in here, sorry, and then I can get my output, which is 1.
So you saying you put 20?
I put 20 in my inverse function, and then I get 1. I get 1 back. All right. All right. Let's go ahead and do another example. Huh? Can we do? Oh no. Well, let's go ahead. I've got some notes here that I can take, and then we're gonna work on number 1 together. All right. Okay. So there's our first example. Okay. So right now, what you have is you have a tool. You have a tool to be able to reference back to if you have any questions. Right. We did every step for how to do these. Right. So let's go ahead and just do another example. So I'm going to do. Let's go ahead and do this one. All right, so this will be example 2. All right, so basically what I'd like us to do is I'd like you guys to just follow along, and then, we'll go ahead and solve this, right? So the goal is to find an inverse, right? The goal is to find an inverse function. So we want to find what x is equal to, and then we're going to make that our output value. Okay. So y is equal. Yes. Question.
Never mind.
Okay. All right. All right. Good. So y is going to be equal to x plus 2 divided by 5. So what is the first step I should do to get x equals something? The first step I should do to get x equals something. Let's go ahead and call Gerald. What's the first step? What's the first step we should do to try to solve this? You can take a guess.
Wait, multiply 5 on both sides.
Yeah, you multiply 5 on both sides, right? Multiply 5 on both sides. Okay, so I'm going to get 5y is equal to x plus 2, right? And so now I'm closer. I'm closer to getting x equals something. What's the next thing I should do? Jasmine, what's the next thing I should do to solve this?
I was saying add 2 on both sides.
Okay.
Subtract, I'm sorry.
So we want to take away 2, very good. We want to take away 2 from both sides to have just x by itself. So 2 minus 2 will be 0. So x is by itself. So now we have 5y minus 2. That equals to x. So what's our final? Who wants to read from the notes and say what our final step is? Yes?
Isn't it we gotta find not the inverse function, but the...
We want to find, the inverse function. Yes.
Right, so, wait.
Okay.
I have to do that.
Mm-hmm. So what was the last step we did here?
F,
Mm-hmm.
and then Y,
Mm-hmm. So that the way we read that is f negative 1 of y.
F negative 1 of Y equals, Y, 5,
Equals.
or 5Y
Mm-hmm.
minus that, minus 2.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So that's the inverse function. This is the inverse function right here of this. These are inverses of each other. So if you do that thing where you put in 1, you get an answer, you put that answer in, you'll get 1 again. Yeah.
So that's our last step.
This is our last step. We're done. Yep, we're done. Can we simplify this?
No.
Not really. Right?
So you just connect 5 and 1?
You connect 5 and y. What do you mean? What do you mean?
You
connect?
multiply 5 by 1, just
Mhm.
connect them, let them.
Yeah, oh, how did I go from here to here? Yeah, so 5 times y is the same as 5y, so I just wrote it in a different form. Yeah.
So whatever the equation equals to x, that's your answer.
Whatever the equation equals to x, that is your, yes. So all you do is once you get x, you just replace x with inverse function of y. And then that's your answer. That's how you do it. Yep, all right, good. Are we ready to try one?
Yes.
Yeah, let's go ahead and give one a try here. So for your third one, so this is in your notes. So before we go to that paper, just being in your notes.
Can you define what a inverse function and algebra, please?
Algebraically, what an inverse function means?
That's what I'm talking about, the definition of topics. We always have that.
Oh, okay. All right. We'll talk about that. But for now, I'd like to get you guys started. That's a good question. Here, let's do this one. This will be fun. We'll see how this works.
Which question is it?
So right now, so this is not a question on your worksheet. This is a question that I wrote. So just the third one in your spiral notebook. You guys go ahead. You try to solve this one, all right? You try to solve this one.